Thank you. Good morning. So my paper is titled Exploring the Use of AI in Religious Education. I think you all know that AI is so pervasive that it penetrates all domains of the human existence. So through the arts, through the sciences, and now my study is focused on the use of AI in religious education, some of its promises, implications, and limitations. So if Sir Marlon has 40 respondents, the context of the study is limited to 4 Catholic universities in the Philippines. That's De La Salle College of St. Benil, Centro Escolar University, St. Paul University, Quezon City, and Ateneo de Manila. So these are 4 Catholic institutions as my respondents. So the legal basis or legal framework of this study is that these 4 institutions adopted the ethical use of AI in their research, in their teaching and learning. So that's why that's the theological inquiries we face in the era. What is God's perspective on artificial intelligence? Is AI inherently good or malevolent? Can AI provide salvation? What kind of future can we expect AI to create for us? So the intersection between RE or religious education and AI has accumulated or growing discussion among diverse fields, including theology, philosophy, ethics, communication, and technology studies. That's why my interest in this topic. So from the different literature, the discussion, the interaction between these 2 disciplines, AI and religious education, religious studies, stem from theological and philosophical discussions, human intelligence and divinity, and the ongoing fascination of religious actors with specialized AI applications and technologies, and the use of AI to facilitate different religious practices and rituals. You can also compose prayers through AI, and then participating in influencing and regulating the use of these technologies. So as the use of AI is part of the RE curriculum, so there's also a trend in how to modify or how to use AI the ethical way. So AI responsible. So AI in RE. So AI is fascinated with the challenges of RE is fascinated with the challenges of AI, especially in representing complex religious matters and varied viewpoints. So it's expansive, more points of view, and another from Churia and Churia 2024, AI aspires to understand religions from both universal and individual standpoint. And then another is another fascination of RE in AI. That's why it integrated AI in its curriculum because of its extensive qualities of religious data and can mimic interaction in the context of religious experience. So as AI is being integrated in religious education, there is the call to examine the ethical implications, the possible biases, as made mention by previous studies, like Sir Dennis, and the unforeseen outcomes. And there's also the goal to balance the harmonious equilibrium between the presence of these AI technologies in the RE curriculum, especially in safeguarding those core elements of spirituality, the connection, the individual experience, and then the individual development and authentic human relationships. So AI, ethics of AI in the RE curriculum, here's an example of a module that integrates AI with its ethical consideration with all the topics here. So 1 to 11, 11 modules. So modules about integrating, let's say, image of God and human dignity, and then the what AI can do or help, So you can just read. For example, here. Number 5, humility and the limits of technology. AI is not infallible and should complement human wisdom. So that's a ethical perspective on AI according to Catholics, because Sir Marlon made mention of the inclusion of Catholic values in the RE curriculum, so with the AI. And the legal framework of this study is anchored on the different AI policies. So I summarize the policies of these four Catholic universities, and you can see here 1, 2, 3 is the recognition of AI that is useful in teaching and learning. Number 1, and number 2, it can enhance and support learning and understanding as long as it's aligned with the university code, honor code. And then number 3, that's also for us, faculty, the need to have a good understanding, ongoing education of AI. And then the rest, number 4, 5, 6, and 7, I think this is the ongoing challenge among faculty and students on the use of AI. Explicit use of AI in the policy of the school, and the integration of AI in the course curriculum, that's number 4. So these are the ongoing development of AI as it tries to integrate in our curriculum. So here's an example of the use of AI in the curriculum. It's departmental, it's classroom, or it's institutional. It depends. So you can see the different scale. I think made mentioned by our colleague here in Benil. So non-use of AI to limited, significant, or full AI use. But what is striking here is the requirement of disclosure. Diba? So if you intend not to use AI, so there's no disclosure. But number 4, if you use level 4, full AI use, then you have to, there's a big responsibility in disclosing the requirement that you use. How did you use the AI in your work? So again, if you look at the some policies or policies of the universities, you can see the permitted use of AI and the prohibited use of AI. So these are just some of the examples. There. So permitted use as a research assistance, writing support, and then prohibited use, essay writing, exam answers, and art submission. Okay, so these are the examples of permitted and prohibited use. So again, since AI here is here to stay, so the RE department is enjoying its promises. So there are many of its uses, customized learning. There are many activities and framework that can be used, educational resource, and then as faculty, it can help make administration more efficient also, less on work, and then it can enhance outreach and connection, and then yes, supportive of diverse learning style, and then it offers a new way of yes, especially digital or online community. And then again, some issues and concerns. I think this already since day 2, day 3 of our seminar. Same issues and concerns. The issue of privacy and security issues. That's one. I think many speakers enumerated this. And then excessive reliance on AI sources because of, well, excessive reliance on AI resources because it will paralyze our critical thinking skills. And then it subverts healthy interaction and collaboration among students. I think Dr. Suma made mention of the tacit knowledge and the explicit knowledge. No? So tacit knowledge includes the development of healthy interaction and collaboration among students. So the theological articulation of AI in the RE curriculum is based from the understanding of revelation. Okay, revelation. So God is continue to reveal Himself to us personally, communally, down through history, and then we have our own Bible as the written manifestation of His revelation. And until now, God uses whatever He wants. So even AI. So when we say it embraces both disciplines, no? So theology can focus on our understanding of God, reality, and ourselves. But at the same time, the other discipline, the scientific community that prioritizes objectivity, verifiability, and precision, can be also integrated and can be considered in understanding, for a fuller understanding of the truth and meaning of our lives. So that's also the as students grow in their faith, as they try to understand their identity and then search for meaning, I think it's all-encompassing, not only theology per se, but other disciplines. So the challenge of AI is, I think you have here, responsible digital citizenship. That's part of the university trying to integrate AI. I think Sir Mardon made mention of the different promises and things to do when integrating AI. Utilizing beneficial technologies in a constructive and meaningful manner. That's the ethical use of AI. And I think this is a good one. So asking how AI sees its role and function as a benefit to our faith communities, to RE education. The answer is through AI from ChatGPT. So ChatGPT provided the following answer in its words, its own words. So let me read. As an AI language model, my role and function can provide several benefits to faith communities. Access to information, exploration of theological concepts, promotion of dialogue, research and resources, educational support, guidance for spiritual practices, language translation to make it more visible to other communities, and then 24/7 accessibility, availability, and inclusivity and diversity. However, it's important to note that while I can offer information and insights, my responses are based on patterns in the data I've been trained on and may not encompass the full spectrum of beliefs within specific faith communities. That's why the need to discern, to look at the bias and discrimination for the language of AI. So the conclusion of the answer of ChatGPT is consulting religious leaders, scholars, and texts from authoritative sources remains important for a comprehensive understanding of faith matters. So in conclusion, it seems that AI is here to stay, but it has its own benefits and limitations in helping people engage in faith matters. So there are potential benefits alongside with its challenges. So the goal there is to, since it's the AI is here to stay, so the goal there is to have a clear conversation and engagement with other faith communities with their questions, concerns, and issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to ask any questions. Cycle? Cycle, you're... Cycle is
Sorry for frequent asking question. Thank you very much for nice presentation. My concern is ethical and theological concern. Do you believe can AI teach on faith, morality, and spirituality? One, AI model carry biases in religious model, possibilities to misinformation in religious teaching that mislead the students and believers. What is your opinion in this regard?
Yeah, thank you for that question. For students not to mislead. So I think the good thing about AI is it tries to provide discussions or expand the discussion, about religious matters. It tries to provide a bigger view, the bird's eye view about ethical and moral issues, and even the perspective of faith. So it does not only include my faith, but the faith of others. So that's the contribution of AI.
But how can we control the biases in AI? How can we control the bias in AI innovation?
Okay, I think that's a challenge for us to, as educators, to cross-check with our references or data or information in order to minimize the bias that we have. So it's good to look at the perspective of others, faith perspective of others, in order to prevent that bias.
Okay, last question, Osama.
Thank you, that was really great. The thought that came to my mind is what happens when there's a conflict between the two sides? And in particular, I'm sure you're aware of it, debate that has been ongoing for the last maybe 40 years or more, maybe since even Galileo. What happens when we discuss the difference between creationism and evolution? cuts at the heart of this debate. And what are the consequences? History is replete with a lot of horrible things that happened because of the conflict between the two. And what would be your advice as to, let's say you are a scientist and you're also a believer, Catholic for example, but you're also a scientist. So what happens when your findings from your experiments actually conflict with your own faith? How do you reconcile the two? Thank you.
Yeah, since you made mention of this is an ongoing issue for the last 40 years, so I think there's a need to constantly review and look at the issue from a different perspective or different angles. And I think AI is here as a help, as a tool in looking at the issue from bird's eye view. From my perspective, from the other's perspective, what makes it, what are the common unifying point of the issue, and what are the differing perspective of the issue, why until now doesn't reach consensus. What are the opposing or major factors why it did not reach major consensus? So I think I don't have an answer for that, but I think AI can help us in looking at things objectively. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask, in this picture, this one is Jesus or Lord Buddha?
I don't know. I just get this from the internet.
This is Jesus, Lord Buddha? Because also the role of bias is a question that you had a lovely picture of the tilling the garden. Was that Lord Buddha or Jesus Christ who's meant to be represented? Because we have these bias, yeah, and the bearded man is meant to be Jesus, and the bald man is meant to be Lord Buddha. It's crazy to have these prejudices, and why are they men and not ladies? This is also interesting. But we're going to take a picture now.